Picture someone blasting through pull-ups with 70 kilograms of iron dragging from their waist. 5 reps, 10 reps. Every single one is surgical. Full stretch at the bottom, chin over the bar at the top, 0 swing. Does anyone on this planet look at that person and think, yeah, their back is small? Not a chance. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why getting stronger at these 4 movements is the fastest path to building a body that actually looks powerful. Now, shift the scene to the dip station. 50 kilograms of added weight. 10 reps, deep and explosive. Could that chest and those triceps possibly be underdeveloped? Impossible. These numbers aren't some pipe dream or a fitness fantasy. They are the North Star, your long-term target. And here is the secret. Chasing these numbers, even just getting halfway there, will build a physique that most people fail to achieve in a decade of aimless gym going. See, muscle doesn't just appear. When you achieve that level of raw mechanical force on a bodyweight movement, the muscle required to output that power had to be forged first. That's not a theory, that is the non-negotiable law of muscle physiology. In this video, we are breaking down the 4 master exercises that make those numbers a reality. No gym membership required. We'll show you exactly why chasing these standards produces that unmistakable, powerful aesthetic, both under a fitted shirt and when it comes off. There's a shape that turns heads whether someone's wearing a fitted shirt or nothing at all. The V-taper, broad at the top, narrow at the waist, is the single most powerful visual signal the human body can send. It communicates strength and capability without a word being said. Women respond to it without consciously knowing why. That's not an exaggeration. It's evolutionary. Over hundreds of thousands of years, a mate with a broad, capable upper body meant security, the ability to provide and defend. That instinct doesn't disappear because civilization got comfortable. The response is still there, still automatic. Now, which muscles actually build that shape? The shoulders, the upper chest and the back. Specifically, the width of the lats and the thickness. Now, what actually builds that silhouette? It's the shoulders, the upper chest and the back. Specifically, the width of the lats and the thickness of the upper traps. Sure, the lower chest, biceps and triceps matter, but look around. 99% of people treat them as the primary goal, obsessing over endless curl variations and push-down techniques, even though those muscles make up only a fraction of what actually defines an elite shape. Here is what makes this approach even better. Every exercise we cover here builds the muscles that matter most, while your arms grow as a direct byproduct. They aren't an afterthought. They are the inevitable consequence of getting genuinely, brutally strong on the right movements. Take the pull-up, for example. It is the undisputed king of upper body exercises outside of a gym. Nothing builds the lats, the broadest muscle of the back, the true architect of the V-taper, as effectively as a vertical pull against your own body weight. Every single rep engages the entire posterior chain. Lats, rhomboids, rear delts and traps, with your biceps and forearms acting as the heavy-duty secondary movers. Grip width is your steering wheel here. A wide grip, hands set outside your shoulders, targets the upper lats, pulling the upper arm aggressively into the torso to maximize that horizontal spread. A closer grip, with elbows tucked at a 45-degree angle, shifts the emphasis toward the lower lats, adding raw depth and thickness rather than just pure width. Then you have chin-ups, using an underhand grip, which target those lower lats while hammering the biceps. It's not a lesser variation, it's a different tool for a different payoff. And the best part? It's all a byproduct of the work. Every rep builds lethal grip strength and forearm thickness. Your forearms are held under isometric load for the entire duration of every set. Over months of progressive training, they develop into something dense and powerful without ever needing a dedicated arm day. Your biceps follow the exact same pattern. They're doing real, honest work on every single rep. Now, cast your mind back to that opening image. 50 kilograms hanging from the waist, 10 perfect reps. Think about the sheer lat development required to produce that level of strength. think about the rear delts, the traps, the biceps, and the forearms that have been forced to adapt over hundreds of sessions as secondary movers. It all grows together. It's not magic, it's just the result of earning that strength. That is the goal. That is exactly how chasing one ironclad number on one master exercise builds an entire back. If you're just starting out, think of the lat pull down as your gym alternative. It uses an identical movement pattern. Now, let's move to exercise 2. Standard push-ups are great, but they primarily develop the mid and lower chest. To build that full, high, powerful looking torso, you need to target the upper chest, and the secret is elevating your feet. By raising your feet, you change the mechanical angle, forcing the upper chest to become the primary mover. Let's look at the anatomy. The upper chest, the clavicular head of the pectoralis major, is specifically responsible for elevating the upper arm. When your feet are raised and your hands are positioned lower than your chest, that exact elevation motion drives every single rep. Your upper chest is forced to do the heavy lifting because it is mechanically better suited to that specific angle. And remember, elbow position changes everything. Keep your elbows tucked closer to your torso rather than letting them flare out wide. This significantly increases upper chest recruitment. A wide flare simply redirects the movement toward your mid-chest and anterior deltoids. The closer your upper arms stay to the sides of your body, the more you isolate the upper chest as the primary driver. You can elevate your feet on a chair, a bench, a staircase. Anything 30 to 45 centimeters higher than your hands is perfect. If you're in a gym, an incline barbell or dumbbell press is your best alternative, and the same elbow tucked cue applies. Exercise 3, the shoulder press. This is your primary driver for shoulder width, and shoulder width is the absolute foundation of the V-taper. There is a widespread misconception that needs correcting. Most people assume the shoulder press is mainly an anterior deltoid exercise, that it's just for the front of the shoulder, but that understanding is incomplete. Here is what actually happens during the press. When your upper arm is below shoulder height, it is the lateral deltoid, the side head, that is responsible for driving the arm upward to shoulder level. It is the lateral delt that is the true sculptor of visible width. It is the muscle that makes your shoulders look broad from the front and from behind. The anterior deltoid only takes over as the primary mover once your arm passes shoulder height. This means that throughout the most demanding portion of the press, from ear level all the way down, the lateral delt is doing the heavy lifting. In short, the shoulder press builds width not as a side effect, but as its primary function. For home training, try the feet-elevated bodyweight shoulder press or use an adjustable dumbbell or a loaded backpack. Truly, any object of consistent weight that you can press overhead will work for your early and intermediate strength levels. If you want to challenge yourself with your own body weight, a handstand shoulder press is a fantastic long-term goal, and you can always add extra resistance with a weighted vest. Your gym alternative is the classic barbell overhead press or a machine shoulder press. If you're finding value in this, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I've got plenty more unconventional training methods coming that will completely change how you think about building strength. Moving to exercise 4. Dips are arguably the most underrated bodyweight movement in existence and are easily one of the most effective tricep exercises available anywhere in a gym or otherwise. As a chest exercise, dips function very similarly to a decline press. Leaning your torso slightly forward during the movement shifts the emphasis onto the chest, while staying upright keeps the heat on the triceps. Both variations are worth using, but for pure tricep development, dips are exceptional. Here is the truth. The triceps make up roughly 2/3 of your upper arm's mass, not the biceps. If your primary goal is arm size and you're only doing curls, you are focusing on the wrong muscle. The triceps are where the real mass lives. Dips train the triceps through a full range of motion under significant load across the entire movement. Which tricep head does the most work depends on what the shoulder is doing. When the shoulder is moving throughout the exercise, as it is in dips, the lateral head of the tricep becomes the primary driver. However, the long head, which is the largest of the three, is most active when the shoulder is stationary. This is exactly why exercises like tricep extensions, where the shoulder joint remains locked, complement dips so exceptionally well. For overall tricep mass, dips are hard to beat because they load the muscle so heavily through a full range of motion using your own body weight as the resistance. Most gym machines simply don't replicate this as effectively as a pair of parallel bars or two sturdy chair backs of equal height. Now, let's revisit the question we asked about pull-ups. If someone is performing 10 dips with 70 kilograms of added weight, is their chest going to be small? Are their triceps going to be underdeveloped? The answer is obvious. Building toward that number guarantees the result, because the muscle required to produce that level of strength simply has to exist first. Your gym alternative here is a seated dip machine or a JM press on a Smith machine. Here is the principle that finally turns these 4 exercises into a real, cohesive system. Progressive overload, the art of consistently cranking up the demand on your muscles, is the ultimate signal that your training is actually working. But there is a crucial nuance here that most people miss. Not all strength gains are created equal. When you dive into a new program, your strength often spikes within the first 2 weeks. That early progress feels like proof that you've cracked the code, but reality, most of it is just your nervous system getting smarter. Your body is learning how to coordinate the movement, recruit the right motor units, and produce force more efficiently. That is neural adaptation. It's real, but it isn't muscle growth. After that initial phase, the newbie gains start to fade. Progress gets harder, and that is exactly when it starts to count. At that point, the strength you're building isn't coming from mere movement skill anymore. It's coming from genuine, honest increases in muscle tissue. A bigger muscle has more contractile fibers and more cross-sectional area, which allows it to produce more raw force. That is the only kind of strength that truly matters. This is why consistent, long-term progression on the same core exercises is the only reliable indicator of real muscle growth. 1 month of progress on pull-ups could just be your nervous system waking up, but a year of steady progress, adding reps, adding sets, and eventually adding iron, means the muscle has actually grown. There is no other explanation. Here is the practical application. When pull-ups become easy at your current rep count, add a rep, add a set, or better yet, add weight. When your dips start feeling effortless at 15 reps, the stimulus has dropped. It's time to increase the load. The body is a slave to demand. If you consistently raise that demand over months and years, physical growth becomes unavoidable. The 50 kilogram weighted pull-up and the 70 kilogram weighted dip aren't just arbitrary numbers I pulled out of thin air. They represent exactly what years of consistent, progressive training on 2 movements can produce. And here's the kicker. Getting even halfway there will build more muscle than most people accumulate in a lifetime of varied, unfocused gym training. You only need 4 exercises, a pull-up bar, a pair of dip bars, or 2 sturdy chair backs, maybe a set of dumbbells and a weighted vest. That is your entire toolkit, and the goal is dead simple. Just get stronger on these movements over the long haul. The shape follows the strength follows the muscle, and the muscle follows consistent, progressive work on movements that actually demand it. If you want more of this, subscribe. There's a lot more coming.